It's been over 15 years. Most online games fade. This one didn't. Left 4 Dead isn't just a game, it's the definitive co-op experience that keeps players coming back to long after other shooters have been uninstalled and forgotten forever.
They're changing. God damn it, Bill! Oh, it stinks!
In an era of always online shooters, skill trees, and battle passes, this ancient co-op zombie shooter is still pulling thousands of players a day. But why? Left 4 Dead isn't just about killing zombies, it's about surviving chaos together. It's about that moment where a friend yells for help and you actually do, otherwise it will be game over for everyone. It's about a last stand in a farmhouse, a frantic bridge run, a rescue chopper you can barely reach, and the stories that unfold not from cutscenes but from pure panic, teamwork, and sheer luck. And this video isn't just about nostalgia, it's about design, pacing, sound, and tension, and why Left 4 Dead is more alive than the games that have tried to replace it. At the heart of Left 4 Dead is a deceptively simple loop. Get from point A to B, survive, and repeat. But it's what happens between those points that defines the experience. And what Left 4 Dead understands, perhaps better than any other game in its genre, is that tension doesn't come from overwhelming you with systems. It comes from tight design, emergent chaos, and the constant dread that something could go wrong. You and your team start in the safe room. You gear up, pistols, shotguns, medpack, machine guns. You open the door and the world becomes immediately hostile. You are not mowing down endless hordes in a power fantasy. You are barely scraping through each encounter. Ammo is limited, health is precious, and mistakes are punished. And the magic of the experience is how dynamic all of this feels. No two playthroughs are ever the same because of the AI director. This is the invisible system that monitors everything. Your health, your pacing, and how well or how poorly you're doing. And then this AI director, it reacts. One moment you're walking through an eerily quiet hallway, and next you're surrounded by shrieking infected, pulled off by a smoker, or pounced on by a hunter from the shadows. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes it's somber, and other times the director throws everything at you. But you're always engaged, because the game will read the room, literally. So the pacing is masterful. There's lulls in action that give way to sudden spikes of intensity, from panicked horde attacks to the screech of a witch just round the corner.
I hear a witch, guys. Flashlights off. Guys, we can't risk it, just go. Flashlights off, we're in good shape. Everybody go. Oh, fucking A! Oh, the witch is right there! Oh.
Each campaign feels like a mini horror film. Slow burns of tension, terrifying crescendos, and a climactic finale. And what keeps this experience tight is its commitment to cooperative survival. This is not a solo shooter. Left 4 Dead makes that impossible by design, unless you're a neurodivergent speedrunner. If you wander off, you're likely to get snatched by a special infected. If you don't cover your teammate when they're reloading or pinned, they're going to die. And if you hoard items, you're just weakening the group, even if it is very funny to rush ahead into the safe house and steal 3 medpacks for no good reason. And so teamwork isn't optional, it's a core mechanic. And because of that, communication is as essential as the bullets you're using. And whether you're using voice chat or not, Left 4 Dead builds tension, not just from the infected, but from your dependence on one another. This simplicity, a point A to point B loop powered by intelligent unpredictability, makes it endlessly compelling. There are no distractions, no bloated upgrade trees, no open world fluff, just pure survival. You're always moving, always adapting, always reacting. And when you do reach that safe room and slam the door behind you, that feeling of relief, it's real, because the struggle to get there felt real. And this is Left 4 Dead's core loop. It's brutally simple, elegantly designed, and it never, ever gets old. And back to the AI director, the invisible conductor behind every Left 4 Dead campaign. The director tracks players' stress levels, positioning, ammo, health, teamwork, and it adapts to the experience dynamically. So spawn paces changes based on how you're doing. Special infected are placed to counter the strategy you're using, and then crescendo events can hit you when you're least prepared. This creates something rare in gaming, it's a genuine unpredictability. The same map can feel drastically different with each run. So even though the campaigns are static in design, the experience is always new, and it's this unpredictability that fuels Left 4 Dead's endless replayability. And even each special infected and horde has its own sound cues to keep you on edge for what's coming next. This doesn't spoil for what's coming around the corner, as you don't exactly know where the hunter or the smoker are, but you know they're near, just watching you, just waiting to pick one of you off. And even if I play a couple of these sound bites now, you may not have played this game in years, but you know exactly what these sounds stand for. Each Left 4 Dead campaign isn't just a collection of levels, it's a thematic survival journey. So let's break down what makes each one of these great, starting with the originals.
To anyone who can hear this, proceed to Mercy Hospital for evacuation. Repeat, proceed to Mercy Hospital for evacuation.
No Mercy, to me, is the quintessential Left 4 Dead experience. For many, it was their introduction to the franchise, that iconic start in the apartment building, the descent into chaos through alleys and hospitals. The initial use of verticality and tight interiors trains players in close quarters crowd control. Early lessons like the car alarm crescendo teaches players how the world reacts to sound. And the finale? It's a cinematic, tense, rooftop defense while waiting for a helicopter rescue. This campaign is just a classic zombie film distilled into gameplay, and that's why it's iconic and unforgettable. Death Toll is a masterclass in pacing and atmosphere. You traverse highways, through foggy woods and abandoned towns. And then there's the shift from the sewer part of claustrophobia to the eerily quiet churchyard, building this suspenseful mood. And then this campaign introduces one of the darker story beats, that there's this church survivor already turning, and it's too late for them. The Death Toll campaign leans more heavily, in my opinion, into a pure horror aesthetic, and it shows in the tension-rich environments it creates. The Dead Air campaign, it starts in the backyard, leads you through a city, and it ends with you sprinting across a tarmac through an airport. But the finale is just pure chaos and incredibly cinematic. It's one of the most adrenaline-fueled sequences I can think of. The setting of this campaign is more like an action movie, but it's still grounded in the survival aesthetic of the Left 4 Dead series. And lastly, on the original campaigns we've got Blood Harvest. This campaign introduces a feeling of pure isolation, dense woods, cornfields, and the rural paths and roads that create terrifying choke points. This campaign's a shift in tone, away from the urban jungles to raw nature. And the finale of Blood Harvest is in a barn house, and it's incredibly claustrophobic if you stay in the house. It's frantic and full of very tight defense points. There's something about this campaign I just really like. There's just the whole feeling of it is just unbeatable. But it just evokes this massively crafted feeling that makes me want to play it again and again.
You okay? The truck's here! Let's go!
Now moving on to Left 4 Dead 2, we start with Dead Center, and this is Left 4 Dead 2's introduction, and it's fast paced from the start. There's fire, there's alarms, and you're in a collapsing building. It introduces melee weapons and new infected in a controlled yet chaotic setting. And the gas can finale, it's a unique twist, forcing players to split up and move constantly. This campaign is an explosive start to Left 4 Dead 2's what feels like a more kinetic gameplay style. And this is expressed in the finale that involves you moving around rather than staying static.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but unless Ellis knows how to build a monster truck, we ain't driving through this.
Sorry, guys. Guess it wasn't such a hot idea after all.
God damn you, Jimmy Gibbs Jr.
That's not cool, Nick.
The Dark Carnival campaign, this is a fan favourite for most, I think. It's one of the most playful and surreal campaigns with killer clowns, carnival games, and haunted roller coasters. The roller coaster crescendo event is also a highlight, where again you're forced to keep moving through the noise and the chaos. And the finale is a rock concert, with the music blaring in the background, fighting off hordes with fireworks and stage lighting. This campaign just has a campy, clever and creative feel to it. And we can't forget the famous gnome achievement. Carrying this little guy across the entire campaign essentially removes one of your party members from shooting, as they need to care for this little guy who, from experience, you can get stuck in places that you can't get.
No CETA, no military, stay out.
This looks like a friendly place.
The Swamp Fever campaign is gritty and it's grim. It's got a slow burn that punishes poor planning if you just don't navigate through the environment correctly. Water slows movement and visibility is reduced. The shanty towns and open spaces, it demands knowledge and positioning. Otherwise you'll be stuck in a poor position when a tank comes out of nowhere. And the finale on the Plantation Riverboat feels like a southern gothic horror film, which, while this finale isn't that difficult compared to other ones, it's still a fun experience.
Now throw the anchor just offshore, waiting for you. Signal at me when you get the gas.
This should be easy. You just need to grab some diesel.
You want to hear a prediction? Nope. No. There's not going to be any gas. Watch.
The Hard Rain campaign, this is one of my personal favourites, and this utilises weather as a gameplay mechanic. So you leave the town and it's a light rain, and as you return with the fuel that you were sent out to get, it's through a torrential downpour. The mill and the sugar field area are loaded with witches, and it's especially terrifying in the stormy darkness where you can barely see in front of you. And the backtracking design makes you see the same spaces totally transformed by the storm. And so I think this campaign, even though it is a backtracking mission, it's still very innovative, as it masterfully uses the weather for environmental storytelling that you don't really see to the extent in the other Left 4 Dead campaigns.
This is as far as Virgil go, but you can make it back to the bridge from here.
Thanks, brother.
Good luck now. I'm gonna see if I can help some other folks.
All right, people. Let's get to that bridge.
You mean that blurry line on the horizon? Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
And lastly, the parish. This campaign builds like one large crescendo event. As you're heading to the bridge, you know that's the end goal, and you know that's going to be the end of your journey. And the finale again flips the scripts, where instead of defending a particular spot, you're needing to sprint across this massive bridge. It's extremely chaotic, very high stakes, and it's exhilarating as your team is frantically trying to get across while tanks are raining cars down upon them. I think it's a fitting finale for Left 4 Dead 2. It's full of energy, emotion, and of course, just pure panic.
What are they doing?
Hey, I got first aid kit if somebody needs it.
Every campaign and every chapter within, it's tuned to evoke a unique mood, from dread to humour to desperation. This campaign diversity in pacing, tone and just mechanics gives the game an endless replayability, and because each is so distinct, players want to naturally revisit all of them. And the sound design in Left 4 Dead is pure atmospheric engineering. It's not just functional, it's like a psychological warfare used against the players, as it trains players that all the sounds have meaning. Even just the ambient noises that build up dread with distant screams, dripping pipes, the wind howling through buildings. And as mentioned earlier, the special infected have their own sound cues, where you hear a hunter before you see it, and a crying witch stops you cold. But it's also the dynamic music that reacts to your actions. The AI director uses a lot of creative methods, depending on the situation that you're in, to evoke exactly what you should be feeling at any given time. And all of this serves the gameplay. You learn to listen, to really listen for any danger. And this adds to making every encounter feel purposeful and feel dynamic. And then there's what binds everything together, the survivors themselves. Each character has personality, banter, and context-aware dialogue. They react to the world, to each other, and to you. They don't just talk, they do feel alive. So Coach is always encouraging, Francis always reminds you of the things he hates, and Lewis always cheers ecstatically when you survive, and he is very overly enthusiastic when he finds pills.
Pills here! Pills here! Pills here! Pills here!
And whether it's with strangers or friends online, or even just the computer-controlled bots, you need each other. Left 4 Dead is unforgiving. A jockey grabs you, you're done, unless someone helps. A smoker pulls you away, you need your team to come get you ASAP. This forces cooperation, not with loot, not with quests, but with life or death decisions over and over again. In modern games, the meta usually means builds, loadouts, and in-game currencies, but Left 4 Dead's meta lives in your mind. You don't grind stats, you develop map awareness. You don't unlock perks, you master positioning, tempo, and general coordination. So what is the real progression? Well, it's getting better at survival, and just having a good time. This pure skill orientation philosophy of Left 4 Dead keeps it pure, honest, and just accessible 15 years later. And this leads on to why Left 4 Dead is still thriving, while newer games like Back 4 Blood struggle to keep players engaged. Well, as we've shown, at its core, Left 4 Dead focus on clarity and simplicity in its design. Everything is clear, what weapons do, where to go, and just how to coordinate properly. And that's all you need. You're never buried in confusing menus or overwhelmed by an avalanche of stats. The goal is always immediate. Just survive with your team and move forward. Back 4 Blood, on the other hand, it drowned players in complexity. It's loaded with intricate card systems, unlock trees, perks, and just modifiers. Instead of playing the game, players often find themselves managing loadouts and grinding endlessly to unlock better gear. This design approach creates a fundamental difference. Left 4 Dead rewards teamwork and raw skill. It's about communication, positioning, timing, and quick thinking. Back 4 Blood demands grinding and metagame mastery, sometimes at the expense of the core thrill of survival. And another huge factor is storytelling, but not in the traditional narrative sense. Left 4 Dead lets players create their own stories. Through the emergent chaos of the AI director means every playthrough is unique. Players share tales of last second saves, heartbreaking wipes, and insane clutch moments. Back 4 Blood, meanwhile, hands you cards to unlock, but it doesn't cultivate those shared moments of panic and joy quite in the same way. So perhaps one of the bigger edges Left 4 Dead has is Valve's embrace of its community. Valve has provided powerful tools like easy mod support, level editors, mutation modes, and the ability to create and share custom campaigns. This empowered the community to expand the game endlessly. New maps, unique challenges, game modes, and the fun mutations that keep the experience fresh years later. The modding scene is now Left 4 Dead's lifeblood. Players are creators as much as they are consumers, and Valve has never monetized any of this creativity. No microtransactions, no battle passes, no daily quests. So that elegant simplicity, coupled with a passionate community, is why Left 4 Dead endures, long after its supposed successors have just faded into obscurity. Left 4 Dead doesn't need more sequels to stay relevant. It doesn't need a roadmap, a seasonal update, or a microtransaction store. All it needs is players, and it still has them. And this isn't because of nostalgia, but because few games, even today, dare to be this focused, this raw, this unapologetically cooperative. In an era where so many shooters demand more time, more grind, more attention, Left 4 Dead asks you for one thing, just to bring your best, your awareness, your trust in your team, your fight to survive the next room. And each campaign, from my experience on advanced mode, will only take you around about 55 minutes, and so it doesn't demand you to sink in a huge amount of your time, when that's the most precious thing we have. And that's also why it endures, not as a trend, not as a franchise desperate for reinvention, but as a timeless blueprint for what great game design looks like, with simple mechanics, dynamic systems, endless replayability, and gameplay that's made better by the people beside you, not the loot that you're chasing. Left 4 Dead has gave us chaos, it's gave us comedy, it's gave us horror, but more importantly, it's gave us authentic teamwork. It's reminded us that even in the darkest tunnels, in the loudest crescendos, and in the moments where everything is falling apart, if you stick together, you might just make it. And that's not just good game design, that's great storytelling, the kind that you don't write, the kind that you survive and tell your friends about. And maybe that's why, all these years later, Left 4 Dead isn't dead at all. It's very much alive, every time a new player boots the game up. And so in Left 4 Dead, real horror is always better with friends, and so is the victory.
Holy shit.
Hey, kill all sons of bitches, right?